We could use you.
For what?
You want to join the resistance?
What's up, everybody? And today I wanted to talk about Gen V and The Boys, or kind of the lack of Gen V in The Boys. Now, I'm sure I'm gonna go on a whole thing when the season finale of The Boys ends this week. I've already seen the leak of the finale, and we'll see if that's true or not. But anyways, I wanted to talk about, especially after episode 7, the way that they just kind of sidelined the Gen V characters, even though, they had set them up to kind of be incorporated into everything. And just like what the fuck were they doing? You know what I'm saying? So if you didn't watch Gen V, basically all of season 2 was setting up Marie to be as strong as Homelander. She went through the same Odessa project, which was the same system that ended up making Homelander. So all of season 2 is just them being like, you are, strong enough to take out Homelander, or you should be, essentially. And her kind of like learning her training thanks to, Cypher and Godolkin, and just kind of like building her up to be kind of this force. And naturally, obviously, at least to me, we can't have a spin-off character come in and beat Homelander. Wouldn't make any sense, right? Like, if you're watching Captain America movie and suddenly Thor came out of nowhere and beat everybody and was like, all right, cool, I saved the day, you'd be like, what the are we doing here, right? So from the get-go, I never assumed that Marie would come in and beat Homelander, because that wouldn't make any sense, right? Of course, some people online are like, well, obviously, if they set her up, shouldn't she be the one to take out Homelander? Which is just like, no, that doesn't make any sense, right? So if you're like, well, yeah, she shouldn't, I completely agree, right? But season 2 ends, Starlight and A-Train show up, and they're like, all right, kids, welcome to the team. So I assumed that they were going to start incorporating the Gen V characters into the show, not in a main way, but more in like a, you see a little characters pop up here and there that help out the boys sometimes, maybe, after the shenanigans of episode 4 when they were fighting each other because the other guy's powers that's like stuck in the wall, maybe like half the team, needs a rest, and it's like, okay, well, I know these kids that can like help us out, and then we get like a little cameo / whatever for, episode 5 or something like that. That's what I thought, is like, okay, cool. They set these kids up that the entirety of season 2 to kind of bring them over a little bit, have them maybe help out in the background and stuff, and, bring the two worlds together for this final conclusion. And so we get episode 7 where Starlight's like, not only are you not that strong, but you don't know how to control your powers, and like, you don't need to be here.
Pack it up. You guys are done.
Well, I'm sorry. What are you talking about?
It's over. Okay, so just tell those other guys to run while they can. However they can, yeah?
And me and so many other people who are fans of Gen V are just like, what a major fuck you to the fans. And it was just like, why would you waste an entire season of a show setting up a character just to be like, psych, we don't actually want you in this season. We don't know why we did that. It's just like, what the fuck?
Heard that you're like the chosen one and have Homelander level strength or some shit.
Well, reports of my awesomeness have been greatly exaggerated.
And a lot of people forget that like things are created beforehand. So like this season has been made for who knows how long. I bring this up because Gen V got canceled. So it was like 2 FUs to the fans, because it's like, not only were we not going to bring these characters over, but like, surprise, one of your favorite shows is also canceled. Not that it was one of my favorite shows, but just saying, like, if you liked it, too bad, it's gone now. And so just like, what are we doing? And I felt like you could have just incorporated the characters into this season. I almost brought up my point too, which is like, let me slow down. We could have incorporated the characters into this season. And I feel like, all right, Homelander has the V1. We can't have Marie be so powerful that she just, crushes Homelander. It wouldn't make any sense. But I think you could incorporate, especially after episode 7, learning that Kimiko now potentially has the, power blast or chest blast, whatever you want to call it. Have Marie show up, kind of as your secret weapon, where she messes with Homelander's blood. It kind of throws him off. And it would give Kimiko just enough time, the 10, 30 seconds, for her to get close enough, blast Homelander with her special beam. Of course, it would be more interesting if her beam only takes out the V1 and not the actual V. that's in his blood, and then everybody has to fight him. And of course, we can't have Marie just again explode him, so he would take her out Quicksilver style of like, hey, we can't actually have this person that's this powerful, so we're gonna knock her out, and then just have the boys do their thing and finish the show off. So I feel like we could have done all of that. I don't know why we didn't do that, and I don't know why this season doesn't really feel like it's all hands on deck. Granted, that's a different video, but yeah, I just felt like they mentioned Marie in like episode 2 or something, like, what about Marie and whatever, and Starlight's like, we got them off doing something else. And then we have Starlight yelling at her, just being like, there's no reason for you to be here. And it's just like, what? The other problem I have with this moment, well, there's 2 problems I have with this moment, right? Other than them not even being incorporated in the season, right? Just with the moment alone, number 1 is like, season 2 had her learn her powers. She kills Godolkin. She brings her sister back to life. She gets homegirl her powers back. I can't remember her name. I'll put a picture on her. The telepathic girl. So it seemed like she had a decent, control of her powers. Definitely enough to help out in the final fight. So it was just kind of like, what?
What good's all that power, Marie, if you can't control it?
And then also Marie's character, especially in season 2, there's a part where I think they like all need to like team up or something like that. And Marie's like, I'm just gonna do this by myself and leave. And so Starlight being like, oh, we don't need you, would just incentivize Marie and her friends to be like, fuck them, we're just gonna do it anyways, and then have them go after Homelander. And in a more incorporate show and probably better written show, we would have like an episode where they go and they probably get their asses kicked. But because the show in this season is just kind of like whatever, it's just like, well, that's not even Marie's character. So it's like, what are we doing here? So that's problem 1 I already have with this. And then we get into issue number 2, which is, I know that some people are like, oh, well, you can't just incorporate a random hero into the show and then have her go after Homelander, even if she is with her friends or with the boys. And to that, I'm like, that doesn't make any sense, because I'm like, have you ever watched The Boys? Because The Boys is constantly every season just dropping new characters or new soups to be specific, into the show. And it's being like, oh, that's blah blah blah, and he does this, right? I mean, this season they introduced O-Father. I'm pretty sure a homeboy in the part of the episode, what was it, Synapse? He like has mental power. He can like read your mind. He can turn off people's powers apparently. He had the power to like, I don't know if he was making them see the other guy. Was it Jeffrey Dean Morgan? Is that his name? Father from Supernatural. Also Negan, that guy. So I don't know if he was making them see that guy, or if he was also able to like transform his self like physically. So I was like, how many powers this guy got? So like having a random girl come up with blood powers, if you haven't watched Gen V, I don't think that's that weird, because again, the show is always introducing new soups. And then also we already got the one girl, what was it, vice president, she became president, who also could control blood. And so I was like, so anytime people are like, you can't just randomly introduce, I'm like, you can randomly introduce her. And it's not really random, because it would be weaving the 2 shows together, and then we already have the end of season 2 where Starlight's like, come with me. So it would make sense to Starlight's like, hey, I already met this character, and like we can like bring her in to help us beat Homelander. So I don't think it would be random. So for me, I'm like, okay, we could make this work. And then number 3 in this episode is that this show, I don't know why, it decided to reiterate, in case we forgot, that Butcher will throw people under the bus in order to get the mission done. So there's no reason in my mind, when Homelander gets the V1 last episode, why Butcher wouldn't be like, okay, well, I gotta every thing I can throw at this problem, I need to throw at this problem. So even though Starlight's like, you can't control your powers, I don't think it matters. I'm 100% sure that Butcher, if he knew Marie existed, which I'm sure he did, he'd be like, all right, I'm going to send her after. Like, she's going to be part of the plan, because why wouldn't she? Because he's like, again, he'll throw whatever he needs to get the job done. And he's so gung-ho about getting Homelander all the way to the end, right? So I'm like, of course he'd bring her in. Why wouldn't he? Even if she couldn't, he'd be like, okay, I'm gonna send her out here anyway. She could be like, you know, a nuke that could help us, you know, gain some sort of advantage. Them just being like, we're just gonna throw these characters over to the side. You know, thanks for coming, but also like, fuck you to the fans. It's just like, what the hell are we doing? We could have incorporated them into the show. We didn't need Marie to be, you know, the ex machina, you know, end all be all, but I'm sure she could have done something. Again, she can control blood. It would have made sense to have her be some sort of like ringer to like get Kimiko close enough to you know, get her little blast off. It would have made sense because they've already met Starlight, and you know, the show is constantly introducing new people. And again, Butcher would throw everything in the kitchen sink in order to kill Homelander. So there's no reason why these characters couldn't have been brought in, specifically Marie, and for her entire end of her story, now that the show is canceled, to be like, she's so strong, she came from the same project that Homelander came from, and she's able to, you know, take out Godolkin with her powers. And just for it to just be like, nothing. It's nothing. It didn't mean anything. Wasted my fucking time. And when you do stuff like that, and it's like, but we want you to be excited about Vought Rising and The Boys Mexico. It's like, why would it even matter? Like, how do I even know that any of this is even gonna be incorporated into anything else? Because clearly you did something else and then, you know, had it blow up in my face. And I've already met, you know, Stormfront and Soldier Boy. So like, Vought Rising is like, you want me to give me a prequel? Like, me personally, I don't care. But we'll see what the finale brings. Maybe the characters come back one more time, but I sincerely doubt it. I just don't see why they would even bring up like a spin-off show if they're just gonna be like, whatever, none of it mattered, and neither did you, fans. Thanks for coming. So I don't know, let me know if you feel the same down in the comments below. Did you even watch Gen V? Why didn't you watch Gen V if you didn't? I'm specifically interested in if you only watch The Boys and then you have that moment, like, what did that feel to you? Was it just like, who the fuck are these people? Or, you know, that's so interesting. Because, you know, I'm used to, whenever I absorb myself into some sort of world, I'm kind of absorbing all the media. And I know some people are like, I only, you know, like almost like a Marvel movie. Like, I only watch the movies, I don't watch the shows. So, yeah, if you only watched The Boys, let me know, how did this scene hit for you? If you made it this far, thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, peace.